Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, January 14th. A lot going on in the world of weather. We have a slow-moving cold front approaching the East Coast. That'll end our recent mild spell as colder air, moderately cold air for this time of the year, filters into the Mid-Atlantic region later on tonight into the early part of Tuesday. Right now, the western two-thirds of the nation are in the deep freeze behind this frontal system. Again, it stalls as it moves to the East Coast. It'll hang just to our south and east over the next few days, and not one, not two, but perhaps three different low-pressure systems will ride up along that frontal boundary zone over the next several days, and we'll have to keep an eye on each one. Rain, sleet, or even snow possible with each one of these systems. A little bit better chance for the ice and snow as the week progresses, since we'll get progressively colder this week. Meanwhile, this morning we have this frontal system right now cutting through Pennsylvania all the way down into the deep south. And again, everywhere west of this front right now in the nation is in the deep freeze. It's 0 degrees at the last hour. Denver, Colorado, very chilly in the 40s across Southern California. They had some frost issues over the last couple of nights. And there actually is a chance for some ice this morning and later on today throughout the deep south from Louisiana to Mississippi on the backside of this frontal system with an area of moisture. There can be some icing this morning way down in the deep south. Meanwhile, this front will stall out as soon as it approaches just south and east of the I-95 corridor in a position like this over the next few days, and that will allow multiple waves of low pressure to ride up along that temperature gradient, that frontal boundary zone over the next several days. Well, speaking of the cold air in the western two-thirds of the nation, this is a map from coolweather.com that shows the record low temperatures or near record low temperatures in the last 24 hours. You notice basically from Texas all the way to the west coast, very cold air. Again, there's possibility of some ice this morning and later on today in Louisiana and Mississippi. Lots of cold air near 0 degrees right now in the Denver, Colorado region. Meanwhile, in the last 24 hours, some record highs or near record highs were set on the eastern side of this front, in the eastern part of the U.S. All that changes over the next 24 hours as colder air pushes in to the eastern part of the country. Well, here's the latest infrared satellite loop from the SSEC Wisconsin website. A thick band of clouds extends all the way from Maine down into the deep south, and that is associated with this slow-moving frontal system. The upper-level winds are kind of parallel to the front, so it will stall out shortly here over the next several hours just southeast of the I-95 corridor. Colder air will filter in. We will get far enough behind that front that it'll be noticeably colder by the time we wake up tomorrow morning as compared to this morning. For example, temperatures this morning in the Philly suburbs are near 50 degrees. Tomorrow morning, certainly down in the 30s with the possibility of some sleet, especially in the northern and western suburbs, as a wave of low pressure rides up along that frontal boundary zone. Lots of clear skies, but very cold conditions here in the middle part of the country. Some clouds and even a little bit of light snow across the Rockies. Again, 0 degrees right now in Denver. Very cold conditions continuing in the southwest. Notice as the flow of air can be seen here, depicted by these clouds, out of the north, down to the south, bringing in that cold air right up and down the west coast of the U.S. Again, everywhere west of this front is in the deep freeze this morning. Colder air will filter into the Mid-Atlantic region over the next 24 hours. Well, let's take a look at not one, not two, but three different low-pressure systems that we'll have to deal with over the next several days as that frontal system sets up shop just to the southeast of the I-95 corridor. This is from last night's Zero-Z GFS run, and it's for this evening. Here's wave number one, low-pressure area here. Frontal system kind of stalled out right here, and this low will ride right up along this frontal boundary zone. Now, notice the rain-snow line here is depicted by this dashed blue line well up in the northwestern side of Pennsylvania. For the most part, it looks like all rain from this particular system in the D.C. area late tonight into early Tuesday. There can be enough cold air in the Philadelphia suburbs for some sleet, maybe even snow, but better chance for some sleet to mix in late tonight, early Tuesday in the northern and western suburbs of Philly and New York, as well as it's only moderately cold in the first wave of low pressure area riding up along this frontal boundary zone. Now let's jump to wave number two. And here it is, wave number 2. This kind of looks like the same map we just looked at for later on this evening, but this is in fact for Wednesday morning. Wave number 2, as depicted here by the GFS model, a little bit more in the way of precipitation than wave number 1. Again, the frontal boundary zone right about here, and that's about where this low pressure area is moving. The rain snow line is a little bit farther to the south and east, a little bit colder for wave number 2, so there's a little bit of chance for some sleet and snow, especially from Philadelphia north and east, late Tuesday night into the early part of Wednesday. Even down in the D.C. area, there can be some sleet or snow associated with wave number 2, and accumulations of snow are not out of the question Wednesday morning north and west of the I-95 corridor. So we'll continue to monitor this. Now let's jump ahead to wave number 3. And here we go. This is wave number 3 for Thursday evening. Now this is farther to the south, and right now most of the models have the precipitation staying just to the south and east of the big cities, D.C. and Baltimore and Philadelphia and New York City. However, I think there is a chance that this could evolve a little differently and come a little bit farther to the north, so we'll have to monitor. There's still plenty of time for this to move a little farther to the north, as this is destined for late Thursday into early part of Friday. Now, this will be with colder scenarios setting up here. If this indeed moves farther to the north, looks like the precipitation will probably be completely in the form of snow if indeed this comes a little farther to the north. So we'll have to watch this. It gets a little bit progressively colder as the week goes on, and with 3 different low pressure waves that we'll have to monitor over the next several days. Now, what about next week? Well, let's take a quick peek at prospects for next week, and there are signs that a very cold weather pattern could be shaping up for the eastern part of the country. This is a height anomaly chart at 500 millibars, the middle part of the atmosphere, by last night's GFS ensemble run, for about a week away, week to 10 days away, and just quite a few signs here for a very cold air mass moving in the early part of next week, and that could be followed by another 1 or 2 rounds of very cold air. It looks like moderately chilly this week and moderately chilly this weekend, but much colder weather is likely for the mid-Atlantic region and much of the eastern half of the nation beginning the early part of next week. Here is several different factors here. If you like cold weather, you'll like some of these depictions here on the GFS. First of all, a ridge right up and down the west coast of the U.S. here. Again, this is about 7 to 10 days out. Quite a cold pocket here in the upper atmosphere, sitting right over the Great Lakes and the northeastern part of the country. And notice the lines here kind of represent where the flow of air is. Here's the North Pole right here. And look at where this trajectory brings the flow of air right from the North Pole down into the central part of the country, and then that wraps around into the eastern part of the country. This is kind of a perfect scenario for a very cold weather pattern setting up for the Great Lakes and the Mid-Atlantic region, New England, all the way down into Florida. There's a possibility of some very cold air beginning, again, this is next week, early part of next week, so we'll continue to monitor this over the next several days. So lots going on here. We have multiple low pressure waves to worry about over the next few days, and then much colder weather looks like it's in store for next week and beyond. That's it for now. Stay tuned to the SIweather.com for updates. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.